Shalom. I want to start off giving all praise and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to all the Akim across the four corners of the world that's pushing the truth in faith and sincerity. And today I want to go into this a common scripture that we all know. I'm mainly talking to the brothers in GMS, but you know, the ones that follow Great Millstone, this is a common scripture that gets brought out because we actually talk about the so-called white man and his downfall and his wickedness, and how the so-called white man is the devil. You know, and this one scripture is basically clarifies that he's the devil. You know, but basically what happened was I had caught a news segment or a news clip on RT News, and it triggered me to think of this scripture in Habakkuk chapter 2, starting verse 4 and verse 5, and it's basically gonna back up this scripture, which is really a prophecy, because this scripture really is prophecy, you know, and it's prophecy that was fulfilled and is still being fulfilled, because this scripture is still applying today. Like, the white man is still doing what I'm about to read. So I'm going to go ahead and read. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. So his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. That's talking about the so-called white man. So it's not upright because he wasn't given the law, statutes, and commandments to order his path here on the earth. You know, he was put here to cater to death and destruction. You know, by way of the sword, which the modern day sword would be his weapon technology, his missiles and his guns, and so forth and so on. And the Israelites are the justas, which is gonna live by faith. We were created upright because the Most High, ultimately, He gave us the law, statutes, and commandments, which is supposed to be faith-based. So I'm gonna read on. It says, "Yeah, also because he transgressed by wine." It's talking about the so-called white man, Esau, the father of the Edomites, according to the Bible. That's what it's talking about. It says he transgressed by wine. His wine is his philosophy that he come with when he basically infiltrate these other lands around the world, so-called countries. When he infiltrate their land, he brings his philosophy with him, which is, for an example, democracy, Christianity, and also his monetary system, which is a debt-based system, and he put these countries in debt. You know, when he put them under the ideology of central banking, you know, so or borrowing money from a central bank. So I read on. He is a proud man. The so-called white man is the proudest entity on the face of the planet. You know, him and the so-called black woman. And neither keep it at home. So the so-called white man really truly don't have a home right now. The land allotted to him was Mount Seir. That's where the Most High assigned that land for the Edomites to occupy. Even though you had nations that occupied that land prior to the Edomites taking over that land, but that's how the Most High set it up. So that would truly be his home, because that's the land that the Most High gave him. But today, speaking on in today's time, the so-called white man, his home, he would call his home America, Russia, Europe, and you know, mainly them three areas of places on the earth. But he spearheads his power out of America. You know, so this white man is really, the scripture is really targeting America. The so-called white man spearheading his rulership out of America. You know, and the rest of this verse is gonna prove it, because America, the America, basically the rest of this verse applies to America. So I read on. Neither keepeth at home who enlargeth his desire as hell, because the so-called white man desired to have the whole world. You know, that's what this whole new world is about. I mean, new world order is about the so-called white man having complete control over the whole entire planet. So that's his desire, and it's as hell, because when he infiltrates these other countries, he brings diseases, he brings warfare, he brings destruction. You know, and all you have to do is, you know, look at his track record. You know, it don't take a rocket science to see, or to just go into basic history and see what this devil has done. You know, like dropping a bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You know, like going into the Middle East and flipping it upside down. Iraq and what's the other one? I can't think of it right now, but like Iraq. So Afghanistan and Iraq. That's what I'm thinking of for examples. And it's just death. And then the death toll is high. When the so-called white man show up, a lot of people die. Just like when the so-called white man showed up to the Western Hemisphere over here in the Americas, he brought disease, plagues, and warfare, and was killed off a lot of Israelites. You know, which the world know as Native American Indians, so-called Latinos, and so forth and so on, of different named tribes. It says, I read on, it says, and cannot be satisfied, meaning that the so-called white man is not satisfied with just having a portion of the earth and a portion of substances of the earth, you know, to live and thrive on. He's not satisfied with just having enough to make it, or even just to be wealthy and live and occupy a certain part of the earth and manage that. He wants to occupy the whole earth and control it, and really have control of all the resources of the world. But I read on, but gather it unto him all nations, and heap it unto him all people, because the so-called white man he basically goes to police the whole planet Earth and takes over these other nations' resources, and also put them in debt to the IMF. You know? So basically, I'm gonna play this clip now that that's on our RT News. You brothers probably seen it, but this news clipping, it triggered me to bring out this scripture. So hopefully this news clipping it brings when you see this news clipping, the first scripture that popped into my mind was Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. So
the state's military is sending hundreds more troops to join the 4,000 already in West Africa, helping to tackle the Ebola crisis. Speaking on Wednesday, the Chief of Staff for the first time revealed the full extent of America's global military presence around the world, saying it has troops stationed in 150 countries. That is 3/4 of all countries. Here's Guy in HHCAN.
To combat the Ebola crisis, the U.S. has recently deployed troops into Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Senegal. To combat ISIS, the U.S. has returned forces to Iraq. As different crises unfold in the world, the U.S. military expands its reach. Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army, General Raymond Odierno, described it as dynamic times of change and spoke to just how spread out the U.S. military has become.
Today, we have more than 225,000 soldiers directly supporting and training to support combatant commanders in over 150 countries worldwide. And we have nearly 60,000 additional soldiers deployed to meet current contingency requirements.
General Odierno also described an army that is engaged on 6 continents. The U.S. has over 600 bases in 38 countries around the world. To all the bases in the Pacific and in Europe and in the Gulf, the U.S. has added new ones in Africa, in countries like Nigeria and Djibouti, from where it's flying drones. When responding to a crisis, the U.S. is quick to commit forces, but it seems to be really slow at getting them out. Regardless of how the crisis develops, once it sets up a presence, the U.S. just does not hurry to pack and leave. In Washington, I'm Ganesh Chakyan, RT.